Welcome to Free Beer Friday, powered in part by the Bearded Monk and Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Y'all first. Okay. Oh my gosh! It's another episode of Free Beer Friday. Hi, your host as always, Ben over at the Bearded Monk. Oh, I am wearing the shirt today.
Hey,
but who's
good timing?
Who's over here? Who's over here?
Oh, it's
that
Betsy,
lady?
but I'm not with Schultzbrow. I just went there recently, and it was amazing. I
Just
prefer
sporting the
Union Bear
brand.
and work for Funky Picnic in Fort Worth because I like driving but not sleeping.
But who's with us tonight, too?
We brought false items.
Oh, what? Okay, let's start this way. Who is this man? You may
Not Barb.
remember him from previous episodes. Continue.
My name is Brandon.
I didn't mean to snort.
I think I got a snort.
I totally did not mean to
Sorry.
snort. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. And who's this guy?
Dominique.
There it is.
And I'm Will.
Oh, the magic happens right now with this crew. Yes. All right. What is False Idol? Because I feel like some folks may not know.
It's not a tiki bar in Texas.
How can we
Oh.
be sure?
Pretty sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I guess you guys are the
Like, oh,
experts.
Yeah, take my word for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Really?
So if you don't
No,
do
we're-
tiki cocktails, what do you do?
We make beer. We're a brewery starting up out of North Richland Hills.
Mm.
So just down the road a little bit.
Oh,
That was good. That
nice.
was good.
Yeah.
It's good
Nice
but messy.
That was worth it. That was worth it, right?
Yeah. Totally worth it.
All right. North Richland Hills.
Yes, sir.
But y'all have been brewing for a while.
We have.
I mean, we've had the beers on before. We've talked about these.
All of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've been here before in this very room.
Talking about how a brewery would open.
Yeah.
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 This brewery might happen,
Yeah,
right?
actually, yeah.
Well, okay, so y'all have been going at this for a while. Been
Yeah,
creating
to say the
beers
least.
for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say we've been talking about the the idea of the brewery for probably 2.5 years. Been working on the brand for almost 2 now, and then have beer in market since last March. So,
And
but we've
here
done
we
3
are.
beers. Yeah,
And you were contract brewing for a while, right?
Yep.
And you
still
have-
are pretty much.
You
yeah.
still are? Okay.
Yeah.
Are
in
you
a sense.
working on your own space at this point, or are you still kind of set on contract brewing? Because I
No,
know Manhattan Project was really successful in contract brewing for several years, so I know that that's a thing that people can do and still be very successful.
I think it's tricky. You don't want that. I think it lowers your overhead. Obviously you don't have to pay for a lot of things, but
Right.
Yeah, it's not what we're setting out to do.
you want
right now.
you definitely want people to come to your home, make more money that way. But it's also like, oh, can we come to your tap room? I don't know how many people hit us up during the weekend. They're like, oh, I'm from Louisiana or this place. It's like, you guys open? I was like, no, not yet. And then it's always been like, oh, maybe in 2 months, maybe in 2 months.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cool. We're getting people from out of state like, oh, I want to check you guys out. I
Very
see
cool.
they're hearing about us, so that's good.
Well, and your beer has been fantastic, so I can see why it gets the notoriety it does. Right?
Right.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
and it's kind of an
yeah.
unconventional way of going at things. And like you guys said, that may not be your first choice, but that's how Manhattan Project went about it. And they've been very successful at developing their brand, even without having that tap room that everybody wants, because it's easier to be able to just, cut out the middleman and sell it. But if you guys are having success without that tap room, I assume that you're going to have a lot of success once that tap room is open, especially if people are already reaching out. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like I think the biggest thing is build the brand. Once it opens, then you actually will have feet coming in. People
Yeah.
coming in, and a lot of people open and then do that after. So we've definitely built the brand and like the brand awareness. So
Nice.
we hope everyone shows up.
We look forward to everybody coming out for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Having our own digs and being able to have people out and share our home turf vision of who we are and what we're about. And we're happy to have Will down here finally a few weeks ago, and it's been a pretty exciting proposition to complete the team. As far as it is right now, right? Obviously, when we open, we'll add to the pack, but yeah, things are exciting. It's getting closer and closer, and you have a little whiff of the barn, but you know it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work, and you know, and we look forward to having everybody out and not just having more beer in the market, but being able to have people come in and drink some at our place.
Right on.
There's going to be a DentonRadio.com sponsored field trip, actually.
Oh,
Really?
You
right
heard
now
it here first.
it just got announced.
Beer
the
bus.
after
Let's
party
do this.
is
Beer
at
bus?
Lane's house as usual.
I heard they're coming to this thing called the Beer Meet at Triangle. Have you heard of it?
Oh, I have indeed. A lot of people have been lost in this. Well, it's a lot like a broken chair. So you go to sit down and it just falls apart. But it's always a good time, and then you get sucked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me. Have you had the beer that we made at one point called Snuggle Pop?
Was that the bacon beer?
You get lost in it.
Is
Yeah.
that it? Is that it? That one?
No. They absolutely threw tofu in that. It was not bacon. It was
Tofu
vegan.
and bacon.
It was
So
vegan.
You just
It was
want to
vegan. It wasn't
you want to
bacon.
offend
It was like
everyone.
It's tofu. It's bacon flavored tofu.
Okay, now I need somebody to make a tofu beer. I mean, we're no longer making ramen beers
could
because
A tofu beer.
Collective
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
made it rest in
R.I.P.
peace.
Wait, which way do you go?
They were the
when
ramen
you,
beer.
When you
Left.
Up, down, left,
is it
right.
left
Right?
to the right?
I don't know. I mean, that's when you're praying, right?
I'm not Catholic,
No,
so I don't.
no.
Ben, I'm an
Is it
atheist,
different
and I know
for-
it's up, down, left, right.
It's right to left.
Is it right, left?
Okay. All right. There it
Oh,
is.
never mind.
You went back and forth?
Wait, is it wallet and watch?
I'm so
or wallet
He's
and
just
watch?
making up
so messing with you
wallet,
right
and
now.
watch.
I'm so messing with you right
No,
now.
but
That's the other
this
way.
tofu beer
You're
sounds
doing
kinda
it
interesting.
You're doing it right. I'm just messing.
So it's got to be like a tofu scallion cream cheese bagel
Oh my gosh.
beer.
This is going to be the most amazing stout ever.
Ew, it's a stout.
Wait, because like a pale ale, it sounds more
is tofu
palatable
taste?
at that
It's got to
point.
be a wild sour.
It doesn't really have a taste.
Oh yeah, well you said cream
Tofu
cheese,
tastes
yeah,
like whatever
a
you want
wild
it to
sour.
taste
It just
like.
tastes like nothing.
Yeah, it'll just be a sponge beer. It'll just be
No, it
Let's
tastes
not
like
focus on the
everything.
tofu. Let's focus on the cream cheese. I feel like that's gonna throw
Didn't
your
Turning
beer
Point do
flavor
that?
off.
They did a new start with cream cheese. Have you had that? It's weird.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Is it good?
Yeah.
A New Start came out with a new start.
Yeah.
sorry. A New Start came out with cream cheese.
They did it
Is
with
that
like
what
a
the
one-off.
last
Signed a
batch
waiver,
was?
It was a
sir.
one-off for the movie, or for that show. What's that show called?
Arrested Development.
Arrested
We cannot
Development, yeah.
mention them.
Everyone deserves
we
a new
do not.
start.
We do not accept any. Can we bleep that, please?
So what do you guys have in the works? I mean, besides the tofu scallion cream cheese, everything bagel beer.
Well,
This is all news to me.
I was like, I
just
didn't.
You didn't
sign
know
up
you
for
were working on
this.
this?
I didn't know.
that's all we're gonna make actually.
Just breakfast themed
like-
beers, I guess.
Yes.
15 lines of tofu beer.
Bagel and lox, pale ale. Let's do this. Yeah.
Put some
Yeah.
salmon
Fishy.
or smoke it.
Both.
Rausch beer?
Yes. Rausch
Salmon beer?
All right.
Did we just figure
But
something
with
out
salmon and
right
chicken.
now?
Umami?
Cream cheese Rausch
Cream
beer.
cheese Rausch beer.
There you go. With
There
everything
you go.
but the bagel seasoning, obviously.
Oh yeah.
No.
Fair
That sounds
enough.
kind of
Fair
gross.
You get the bagels on the side with your beer. Oh, come on,
yeah.
you gotta do
Dip it.
pairings.
Food pairing.
Yeah,
dip it.
yeah.
Food
of
pairing.
course.
And dip it.
I should have thought of this. I don't know.
Salmon locks.
It's the worst thing I want to think about is dipping
That sounds gross.
cream cheese coated
Soggy
bagel in my
bagel.
beer.
You just put the locks on the side of the glass.
Oh man.
Just like
Just
a full
flopped over the edge.
salmon.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you actually-
just
you-
slid up the
You
side
actually
on the
rim
glass.
the glass
No.
with cream cheese.
Yeah.
And then the capers.
Yeah, you muddle.
And then you line
you
it
got to
with
muddle
locks.
you got to muddle the capers.
Only we're
and that
talking
way
about
it
this.
just like turns around. And
This has gone too far.
Someone's gonna do this. We're joking, but someone might actually do this.
This could happen.
Somebody's watching Free Beer Friday.
Yeah.
Like, oh!
I'm doing this now.
they might. I don't know.
Write it
All right,
down.
good.
Every note.
Please tell us what you really like to brew,
We're
so that
gonna.
people don't get confused.
No, yeah, we're not making bagel beers. Right now.
Okay.
Not
So
right
what's happening
off, but
right now?
Right
Yeah.
now. We've got a lot of ideas kind of in the kitchen.
Okay.
We're real anxious to get our doors open because once we get open, we want to really have a nice array of both hoppy beers, dark beers, and lagers.
Nice.
We're gonna really get the get the fire going on mixed fermentation beers as well.
Oh, nice.
But those obviously aren't going to be at the opening, but we'll probably have some kettle sour fruited beers as well.
Okay.
So really, I think we're going to have a nice little spread. We got our doors open.
Cool.
And we're hoping to always have something new for people to try.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, kettle sours are a little bit quicker to turn around, like a day or two in the kettle, and it's a little safer because you do it in the kettle so that you can heat it up and kill the bacteria that makes it sour. But mixed fermentation and wild sour beers are a little bit more complicated. So how do you plan on doing that, and how do you plan on keeping those separate from your clean beers so that you don't end up with everything sour?
We're not going to store when we do barrel fermented ones, we're not going to store them next to clean barrels. We'll have them separated. Then we'll do some stainless mixed fermentation beers as well. We're probably going to have some stainless steel IBC totes that are separated as well.
What
is a tote?
It's like a giant square that's stainless steel. You can store liquid in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
So, yeah. No, I mean, it literally looks like a square that has feet on it, more or less.
Like a juice box made of metal.
Yeah. I mean, it's big, though.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's giant.
Like shove a straw in it
I was going to
and
ask.
just kind of...
Will it have a straw?
Yes.
I mean,
Is it a Capri Sun? Really?
Yeah. But yeah, so we got a lot of ideas, being worked on and, waiting to be done once we get our doors open and we get our CO and everything. So we're really looking forward to the future, and we're excited for the opportunity to share all of our ideas with, North Richland Hills and Dallas Fort Worth as well.
I'm looking forward to that. I love a good sour, and I can imagine that it would be very difficult while contract brewing to either tie up the brew house for 2 days to make a kettle sour or to convince them that you're not going to infect the rest of their beers.
Right. Yeah. That's why we're not doing that with
Fermentation.
contract brewing. Yeah. No way.
Yeah, in regards to contracting, we actually been talking about doing a New England Pale Ale and then another New England IPA. And obviously we're not trying to be, I think he kind of focused on that too, is we're not trying to be a one-trick pony, focusing on one style. It makes money, obviously, but nothing against the breweries that are doing that, but we definitely want to have a variety on the board.
Yeah.
And obviously we've been doing those styles for market because they're the lead dogs right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
love
what everybody's going for.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love IPAs, but I also love lagers and I love stouts, and I love mixed fermentation beers. And so, I want to do all these things, but, for kind of getting first impressions out there for people first trying our beer for the first time, we've chosen to go on the hoppy route. But like I said, we're going to be doing a lot more than just that once we get our doors open. And we have more freedom.
Then you get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want when we have our own brewery online,
Well, people love hoppy beers, and hoppy beers are what made me fall in love with beer. So many years ago when I fell in love with beer. And so I'm so glad that we're still doing hoppy beers, because when I figured out, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so when I figured out that not all beer tasted like Anheuser-Busch, I was very pleased, and I have loved beer ever since. So I'm glad that we're still doing hoppy. It's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I think hoppy beers are just getting better, because I was talking with someone the other day about all these hop chemists and hop growers are doing all this experimentation with crossbreeding different hops and stuff, and they're really getting some really unique flavors out of hops.
Yeah, well, and the
And,
science on the brewing side is really coming along as well.
Yeah, and so it's just together we're going to be able to make a lot more interesting sour beers and bring a new array of flavors to hoppy beers that previously weren't there.
what's the hop that you were telling? It's the Sabro sister hop that has the oak to it,
HPC 472.
and it almost gives a oaky, a barrel flavor to a non-barrel aged.
Yeah,
stout,
it's got a whole lot of
Awesome.
vanilla and coconut and oak as well.
So there's cool things like that.
Just from the strain of the
Just from the
hop.
hop, yeah.
Wonderful.
There's hops with berries. I mean, the vanilla is not terribly uncommon now, but 8 years ago, a vanilla forward hop, I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool. There's a lot of new things on the horizon.
Well, y'all talk about IPAs, but I thought for the longest time I hated IPAs until I had a sip of Sunshine.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
so good.
okay. Now I'm on board, because that super bitter West Coast stuff I was having all the time was way too much for me. So I've enjoyed some of the stuff you put
juice,
out
yeah.
already. That's including a beer about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a wonderfully complex beer It happens to be an IPA, but there's so much going on. Whereas a straight West Coast IPA, that's all I get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it branches out beyond just the IPA.
Yeah. IPAs are such a diverse style because really these are not the India Pale Ales of the past. IPA now really just means it contains hops. And it can mean that it contains a lot of bittering hops like a West Coast IPA would. It can also mean that it contains a lot of dry hop, which is not going to add to the bitterness, but it's just going to give you this really nice, juicy, that's where the hazies come from, just this wonderful aroma. You can call a lot of things an IPA, and they are all totally different. So like you, when somebody says, I don't want an IPA, I don't like IPAs, like what don't you want about it? That there's so many different kinds.
Well, should we talk about the differences while we're doing this right now? Like what will bring out a juicier flavor? What will bring out more of the citrus or the sweetness versus just straight bitter? Should we have that conversation?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Will, you want to lead this?
Sure.
Betsy, you want to lead this?
We can tag team it.
Bring
start
it up.
out.
So kind of hops 101, IPAs 101. So, when you're putting hops into the boil, when the beer is boiling, you're going to be isomerizing the alpha acids. And that's really the main bitterness compound that you're going to be getting when you get bitterness in beers, the isomerized alpha acids, right? So,
Okay.
West Coast IPAs, they rely a lot more on the kettle additions. Whereas dry hopping,
Wait, define kettle addition.
kettle addition meaning when it's hot before the
Yep.
beer before the wort gets cooled.
Give us some heat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you boil the beer, and then you add hops all throughout, or none at all, or depending on the beer, and then you cool it down into and put it into the fermenter with the yeast, and then it ferments, right? So when you add the hops on the hot side, you're going to be getting a whole lot more bitterness. Whereas when you add the hops in the quote unquote dry hop, traditionally speaking, the dry hop would be after fermentation's done,
Mm-hmm.
and then you add the hops, and it adds mostly aromatic character, so mostly aroma. Well, with the West Coast IPAs, you're going to be adding a whole lot more hops earlier in the boil to get more bitterness, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well as the grain bill, the types of grains that you're using, it's going to look a lot different. West Coast are going to be a whole lot more dry than the typical New England is, as well as a different yeast. But with New England's, you're adding a lot less in the kettle. At least the way that I brew them, I add a lot less in the kettle and a whole lot more in dry hop, both during fermentation and after.
Yeah. A lot of times for New England IPAs, nobody is adding any hops until the heat is removed. So the wort is still hot, it's still warm, but you no longer have flame going. You're no longer adding heat.
Okay.
Desomerization is just a slight chemical change. It's the same chemical compound, but you might have a little switch, and it results in the bitterness that you're looking for. Isomerization is what we perceive as the bitterness. It's how we measure bitterness. And so when you're adding it early on in the process and you're exposing all of these alpha acids to the heat, you're getting lots and lots of bitterness. So what he's saying is basically when you're adding it early, like you would in the West Coast, when you're adding your hops early, you're getting bitterness. When you're adding them late, you're getting aroma.
Okay.
And very little bitterness. And in a lot of these New Englands, nobody's even touching hops to the wort until we've already turned the heat off.
Far past.
Yeah.
And doesn't that
Gotcha.
technically make it like 0 IBUs?
Well, no, because it's still hot. Because
No.
the wort is still hot, and because
No,
they
it
will
just
still
only cold edition though.
They
Yeah,
can
she's
still
ref-
add a little bit.
Oh, okay.
She's referring to like Whirlpool
Okay,
editions.
okay.
Yeah.
Before it gets
No, I'm talking
chilled.
about ferment like.
Well,
Yeah, the
post-fermentation.
0 IBU would be in the fermenter
Okay,
hops.
Okay.
Yeah, even in the fermenter, you can create some isomerization just because it's room temperature.
You're
So
for
you
sure
may get
getting.
a few IBUs, but not very many.
Yeah, I mean, definitely depending on the cohemulant levels of the different hops, and just by the nature of New England IPAs, they're very heavy on the back end, meaning in the dry hop, very large amounts of hops are being added, and so you're going to get some bitterness extraction just from that. It's just not quite as pungent as when it's hot.
Okay.
I think it's interesting. I remember the IBU challenges, like all these breweries were doing like over 100. Like
Yeah.
Palette
Yeah.
Record.
Pushing
I
it
think
to the
what's
limit.
it? Was it Mickler did 1,000 IBU,
Yeah.
like 1,000 IBU, but you really
Right.
can't even taste it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think
After a
that
certain point, your palate can't
theoretically-
even.
There are a lot of
distinguish
studies that
it.
say over
Yeah,
100
we're
IBUs
done.
and your
Yeah,
palate
they're
can no
done.
longer
Overkill.
distinguish
Yeah.
between 100 and
Yeah.
150 and 200. You
Pretty
can
much.
make it 1,000
Yeah.
IBUs, but you're not going to be able to perceive it.
And
at
then
that
even when it gets up higher, you're almost like you have to go almost by like 10. Like when it gets like in between 80 and 90, like you can't tell
Yeah.
it between an
point.
82
You're like,
and an
no,
85.
this is
Oh,
83.
okay.
This
But
is
you
not
gotta like
87.
you can tell
old.
between an 80 and a 90 maybe, right? So
Oh,
you've got
okay.
like when it gets a little bit higher, it's got to be a little bit further
A
away.
pretty
apart,
drastic
right,
change
to be able
for
to tell
us
the
to even
difference.
pick it
Right,
out. Yeah. Well, and then I have so much fun when people come into the bar and they were like, I just want something high IBU. And then I point them over to like
A Russian Imperial Stout.
exactly a barley wine. Like, wait, no. I want an IPA. Well, there's a fun game we're gonna play.
right.
It's gonna be malt bill versus hop bill, and when the hops are added, because there's so much going on. And I feel like Charlie had brought this up, the PBUs, the perceived bitterness units, the wind chill factor when
Yeah.
the night is
Right.
35
Yeah.
and it feels like 28. That's how I always equate it. Is there a
Is that measured?
a measurable dynamic for
Perceived?
PBUs?
No.
I think it's just.
It's all subjective,
yeah, it
right?
is subjective. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has been so much fun to watch, though. Like, if I give somebody a Hog Heaven from Avery, well, I guess we don't.
Which is a
have
double
that
IPA
anymore.
now. It used to be an American barley wine. Now it's a double
Yeah.
IPA.
It was a very hoppy barley wine with a super huge malt bill, and you couldn't taste it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, and
How
sometimes
do
these
we define
ingredients are going to
what
play
we're
off
perceiving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, these ingredients are going to play off of one another. If you have something that is very malty, like Community Mosaic, for example, that's a really big one in the area. It's a West Coast style. They don't call it a double or an imperial, though it is, I believe, 8.6%.
Yeah.
But because it is so malty and it gives it that sweetness, it doesn't taste like it's, I think it's 70 or 80 IBUs. It doesn't taste it. It tastes like it's many fewer IBUs than it actually is because it is so malty. And it's the same thing in food production. We put a lot of salt and a lot of sugar at the same time
Yeah.
because it preserves the food, but without giving you the perception of very salty or very sweet. You put both. So when you put really malty and really hoppy in the same beer,
Balances.
yeah, it balances well. It's all about balance.
Yeah, to the point
It's
you were
all
saying,
about
it's like there's
balance.
people, there's like the IBU chasers, the ABV chasers. It's like I don't even really pay attention to IBUs anymore. Really, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, ours was what 53.
And theoretically.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really taste like
Doesn't come
53.
off like
no.
comes off like a lot less.
Yeah.
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 A lot less. And Community Mosaic is at 85
85.
IBUs.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
85
that doesn't
IBUs.
taste like 85.
Yeah, no,
No.
not at all. It's
And that
it's so
malt bill
malty.
is so high. Yeah. Oh, this has been so eye-opening right now.
Yeah. Does
So
your brain hurt?
eye-opening.
Does your head hurt?
A little bit. I kind of want to drink some more. Oh, yeah. Oh,
That definitely helps.
oh, this is so good. Well, I'm going to
Oh, you
drink some
had
more
it?
of this.
Did you wanna try it?
Yeah.
Sure.
The odd side did a good job on that.
They
So
do-
2 beers is actually better for you than 2 Tylenol.
that's what I
Yeah,
heard
they're-
actually.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
dead serious.
Yeah.
You heard it right now
Two
from
beers.
the doctor.
2 beers,
There
Dr.
it is.
Pitzer.
not 2
Dr.
Tylenol.
Sponsored by Free Beer Friday. 2 beers.
The more you know.
That's a new beer actually, just like a little Dr. Pepper logo, Dr. Pitzer.
Oh,
Done.
oh, this is
All right.
money.
I like it.
This is straight money. Yes.
I don't know. Can we call a beer 2 beers is better than 2 Tylenol?
It sounds kind of
It's really long.
2 beers is better than 2,
Yeah.
and then just the drawing of a white pill.
Acetaminophen. Yeah, no brand names here.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well,
Don't mix them. It'll mess up your liver.
I say we do some more drinking.
Yeah.
Are we up
Yeah.
for doing more drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drinking's good.
We're gonna hang
It's
out,
good
do
for you.
some samples.
Yeah.
Go back, drink back at the Monk.
Yep.
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 Okay.
Now,
Okay.
tell them, in case they forgot, what beer of yours is on the Bearded Monk right now.
Oh,
because
yeah.
They need to come
Yeah.
drink it.
Yeah.
A
Throw
beer
it
about
out there.
nothing. It's a New England IPA, double IPA, 8.4% with Lotus and Citra. So it's at the Monk,
How many IBUs?
53.
53.
Theoretical.
53.
Calculated.
But the
Yeah.
perceived bitterness
There it
is
is.
really low.
It's
Yeah.
like 10.
The PBU.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the 20s.
Say like
probably.
15, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty mellow.
Yeah.
And
There
2
it
of them
is.
is better than 2 Tylenol.
So obviously, yeah, there you
Dr.
go.
Pitzer, take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Do we need a?
2 of them in an Uber ride. Is
Yeah,
what the 2
right, yeah.
Tylenol.
Dr.
no,
Ross,
yeah.
oh, so
Right?
responsible.
Yeah, you got to pair it with Uber.
I like that. I like that
Or
a lot.
Lyft or Alto or whatever.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Alto.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's Alto?
Fair enough.
I don't
It's
know
a
what that is.
Dallas-based competitor.
We got a
I
local
don't know. I
Popping up
live
now.
there. I've never
Hey,
even heard of
car
it.
ride?
By the way, Alto, we could use you up in Denton,
No.
apparently. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Right?
If
It is the
Uber
greatest
and
place.
Lyft weren't more for what this town could handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
You just hear about
There's a
them
bunch
if you
of
listen
kids,
to the
yeah.
ticket, which I guess that's
Oh,
why.
You're the only
there
one,
it
I
is.
I
guess.
haven't done that.
What's
I'm on
sports
the
ball?
only
I don't
P1
know.
here.
I don't
Yeah.
do
Sports
sports
ball.
too much.
It's all right.
Sports.
All right. Well, I say we go do some more drinking.
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, guys.
Cheers.
Thank
Cheers.
you all for joining us.
Cheers.
And yet again, we're going to do some more drinking. And if y'all want to join us, come down right now. Right now.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
See
Don't
you in a
look for
bit.
a beer about nothing.
God, I want to go drink some
Thank you
beer.
for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.